Good morning, everybody.
Hello? Yeah, Pushpesh.
Hi, Sanjay. Hi, Matt. How are you doing?
Good. Good. Thanks, Pushpesh, for helping organize this wonderful outreach that we are doing to the incoming Trump administration. This is part of our continuing outreach into the incoming administration. As a bipartisan organization, we continue to do that for the past 20 years. And this will be a continuous effort into making sure that the concerns of the Indian American community are represented to the incoming Trump administration and even going on ahead as to how the Indian American community can engage with the Trump administration. For this very important call, we have got several speakers who are playing a very key role in the Trump campaign and now in the President-elect Trump's incoming administration. We have Matt Keelen, who has been working with us for over 20 years. And since that time, he has been tirelessly building relationships for our community with the Republican Party. He has been working with us with Speaker Ryan when he was just a member of Congress, or even before that, with Governor Brownback when he was a member of Congress, with Vice President Pence when he was just a member of Congress, and on and on and on. And he and his firm have been rated as the top 5 public affairs firms by Bloomberg government for the past 2 years. I'll turn it over to Matt, and then we'll have questions and answers for him and the congressman. Matt?
Thanks, Sanjay. I really appreciate it, and I've appreciated the friendship that we've shared for the last 20 years and all the great work that we've done together. USINPAC has been the leader in public policy in your community and will continue to be. And, having this call and the other calls that you had during the primary and general election with the different campaigns, including Donald Trump's, just is a testament to how aggressive that you guys have been in reaching out to both parties and being a leader. Really proud to have worked for the Trump campaign on the coalition effort. It was back in June that I started, and back then a lot of people didn't give us much of a chance of winning, but some of the folks like Congressman Barletta, who I'm going to introduce in a minute, and others worked tirelessly to gain traction and continue, despite what the mainstream media was telling you, to work hard to get him elected. And we had a historic night on election night. And I do think Vice President-elect Pence and President-elect Trump have really changed the dynamics of American politics. And it's up to the Republican Party now to take advantage of a new political map, a new political paradigm, and the ability to, much like the 1980s, reshape the Republican Party into a much more inclusive Republican Party. And I do think through his actions as a candidate, Donald Trump has shown that he wants the Republican Party to welcome everyone. He campaigned in every neighborhood, in the inner cities, asked every group for their support, unlike many other Republican campaigns in the past. And I do think you're going to see him really trying to broaden the base of the Republican Party. And with that, I wanted to introduce one of the rising stars and key leaders of the Republican Party here in the House, and certainly the Trump campaign is through his tireless work in Pennsylvania that Donald Trump was able to flip a state that hadn't voted Republican since 1988 into a red column. It was the key state that basically swung the election on election. I don't know if everyone was watching that night, but once Pennsylvania went, everyone knew that Trump was going to win. And Congressman Barletta has been in the House since January of 2011. What I love about Congressman Barletta is his background. He was a mayor of a small town and a small business owner. So he really understands what it's like to live outside of the DC bubble and outside of the Beltway and represent the people that live in that part of the country better than just about anybody here. Particularly as a small business owner, someone who has signed the front of a paycheck and understands the crushing weight of the government overregulation. You couldn't have a better friend in the House of Representatives and on the Trump transition team. With that, I'd love to introduce Congressman Barletta. If he could just let us know a little bit about some of the work that he did with President-elect Trump and the excitement that's going through the Republican conference about the opportunities presented to us coming 2017.
Great, Matt. Really appreciate that. Congressman? Matt, while they try to get the congressman, I don't know, maybe he's having an issue with dialing in. Do you want to address a couple of questions from the, we've got literally hundreds of listeners, and this is going to get beamed out to a lot more people. The questions that are coming in primarily from our community, and obviously there are literally tens and tens of questions. One of the questions that is primary, and we've discussed this at length, is how do qualified Indian Americans find an opportunity or a way to engage with the new administration? How do they become part of that?
Sure. Happy to help, Sanjay. One of the things that I would encourage everyone to do is to get resumes into you, Sanjay, and USINPAC, and I'll be helpful in handing them in to the proper people. But there's also a website, greatagain.com, where everyone, including the people that was just announced today, Secretary or Secretary Designate Sessions, Mike Pompeo is designated to run the CIA, and Mike Flynn, who's designated to run the National Security Agency, all had to do this as well. You have to go to that website and apply. It's very easy. It should take you no longer than 5 minutes. I did it myself earlier this week, and I'm not the most technologically gifted person, was able to get through the website. It basically just asks for your information, your background, your resume, why you want to be part of the Trump administration, and what offices that you are interested in applying for. And it's pretty easy to navigate. And again, if there's any questions on it, happy to have a follow-up call with you guys to walk you through making sure that everyone is able to navigate the website. Again, it's greatagain.com, and there is a tab at the top for applying for government positions. And I would encourage everybody that's interested in joining the Trump administration to do so. I do believe that we're at a historic time, that the opportunity to grow the American economy and also grow our relationships around the world has never been greater in my lifetime. So I'm excited about possibly being part of that, and would love to have more people. And he is definitely looking to have a very diverse government that looks like America, and just like you said in the campaign.
That's wonderful. That is wonderful, man. That's great to hear for our community. As you very well are aware, we have some fantastic people with great background. Matt, the other question that has come in, and I don't know if the congressman is really online or not, is about how is President-elect Trump going to view the upcoming relationship between U.S. and India?
I'm glad you asked that, Sanjay. He addressed that back on October 15th at a rally, where he said that he views the relationship as one of the most important, if not the most important relationship going forward. And I think, just like many in the Republican Party, he recognizes that India is the largest democracy in the world, has many of the same values that we have, and also is confronting many of the same issues that we're confronting around the world, including terrorist attacks inside its nation's borders, and having issues at its nation's borders with other countries. So I think he's very much looking forward to engaging the people of India in a relationship where we're working together to promote each other's values.
That's great.
And Sanjay,
Matt, also,
if you go back to President,
sure.
If you go back to President Bush, I think President Bush also did a great job of engaging India and working together during these very trying times in the world.
Yes, you're right about that. The civil nuclear agreement was passed during that time. Matt, can you talk about the upcoming Trump cabinet? What it looks like? Where would there be some opportunities, specific areas for Indian Americans? And also, how did we get here? You were hardcore at the campaign. Nobody expected this. How did this, Matt? Hello.
Sanjay? Hey, Sanjay, I'm
Hello,
sorry,
Matt?
I was muted there for a second. Yep.
No, whatever. So I don't know if you heard my questions.
How we got here was one of them, and then here's the first part of it. The other thing, cabinet, and we're to look at the potential cabinet, Sanjay, and some of the names that are being talked about. There are members of the Indian American community being mentioned for some of the biggest jobs in the cabinet. For example, Governor Nikki Haley has been talked about for either Secretary of State or for the Department of Commerce. Obviously, both positions that would have major impact on foreign affairs and business development internationally and domestically for the new government. And then Bobby Jindal, former governor of Louisiana, has been mentioned as a potential Secretary of Health and Human Services. And I do think both of those are serious contenders for those positions. And there's a lot of competition. One of the things that Governor Christie said recently about the transition was in October, all of a sudden, many of his phone calls that were going unanswered started getting answered as the race got closer and closer. So there's a lot of people right now very interested in becoming part of the new government. But those are two names that I think that also shows, one of the reasons why USINPAC has been so powerful and how the Republican Party really reflects the new demographics of America. Two of our biggest rising stars, Nikki Haley and Bobby Jindal, come from the community and have been elected to the highest offices in their states. And we hope that more people run for Congress. The Congressman comes on, and one of the things he's going to talk about is having more business owners run for Congress and other elective offices. One of the beauties of President-elect Trump is that he has never held elective office. He is a business owner. And one of the things that a lot of people have been frustrated with the government over the last, many years is it doesn't seem to run like a business runs, and it's running up massive federal deficits. And I do think you're going to see the government run much more like a business. There's already been some talk about consolidating some of the departments. Why do we need to have several different departments doing the same job? And I think one of the things that Congressman Barletta and also Vice President and President-elect Trump are going to encourage more business owners to get involved in the process. One of the messages, Sanjay, of election night was, at the end of the day, the people get to speak. Not the mainstream media, not the elites, not the experts, but the people spoke. And the people defied all odds and elected Donald Trump in the biggest electoral college victory that we've had since 1988. And that just shows you the power that people have in this process. And I want to encourage everybody that's on the call to redouble their efforts with USINPAC. Redouble your efforts in your communities to get involved, because we do need people that understand what it's like to run a business to get more involved in the process.
Matt, can you talk about some of the priorities for, let's say, the Republican, the GOP, for the upcoming Trump administration, because it'll filter down to the business people on this call or the people looking for jobs, to tell them what kind of positions, what kind of business opportunities would be there for the Trump administration?
Sure. So I think Trump administration, along with Congress, is going to roll out several key first steps to rebuilding the economy. You probably have already heard his plans on infrastructure. He wants to invest a lot of money rebuilding the nation's infrastructure, putting Americans back to work, and has already met with some really strong bipartisan support on that plan. Has coupled that along with tax reform. The tax code has not been reformed since 1986. And I think 2017 is going to be the best chance to overhaul the nation's tax structure. I think you'll see a much more simplified code with lower rates and less rates if the president-elect and the Republicans in Congress have their way. The other thing that they're going to very much go through regulation by regulation is the regulations that the Obama administration has put in place over the last 8 years. And I think you're going to see many of them overturned by the president through executive orders, just like they were put upon us by executive orders. And what President-elect Trump and Vice President-elect Pence have said, once that process is done, they're going to have a new process where any federal regulation that gets put on the books can only be put on the books if 2 others are taken off. So you're going to see a much more business-friendly environment, reducing the regulatory burden on small businesses and American businesses that are trying to grow. And I do think they're going to try to make the government more effective and efficient. You know, we all know the stories of inefficiencies in the federal government, and I think they're going to be looking for partners that can help them do that. And some of the agencies that have had the biggest problems, President-elect Trump talked a lot about the problems at the VA and the disgrace of the treatment of our veterans, and contractors and groups that have thoughts on how to make the VA run more efficiently should certainly be getting their ideas to people inside the government once the Veterans Affairs Secretary is named and the landing team for Veterans Affairs is named. If people have ideas, they should be getting them into you to get them into the Trump team.
That is great. Matt, what do you see Vice President Pence's role here? He's obviously been a good friend to you, good friend to us. We have a very, yeah, Matt.
I just got a message from Congressman Barletta. He cannot get his line unmuted.
Okay. Pushpesh, can you please work with him? Yeah. Pushpesh?
Matt, can I have the number, please?
For Congressman Barletta?
Can you quickly shoot me a text or something?
Yeah. I could give you a number, a cell phone number to get in touch with his chief of staff, or I would just call his office. I know he's in his office.
Just call his office. He can't get unmuted. Matt, what do you see?
In the meantime, I can continue answering questions.
Congressman, Vice President Pence's role, as I was telling you, we've had a long relationship with him. We have a very active chapter in India now that has been working with him. How do you see moving forward his role within the Trump administration?
Hold on 2 seconds, Sanjay. I would tell him that they're... Sorry about that. I think Vice President Pence, or Vice President-elect Pence, is going to be a key component to all domestic and international policy for President-elect Trump. He's going to be the go-between between the administration and Congress. He has very deep relationships with his very deep relationships with all the current leadership in Congress. As people know, he did serve in Congress while with many of them when he was here up until he was elected governor in 2012. And he has been dialoguing with both sides of the aisle already. But I do think you're going to see a very aggressive agenda when it comes to pushing legislation. You know, one of the things that people need to understand about President-elect Trump is, as a businessman, he is going to push harder than most politicians when it comes to getting stuff done. And he does have a very aggressive agenda. And he's wanting to get big things done quickly. And he feels very compelled to keep promises that he made to the American people, particularly about bringing American jobs back and creating economic growth. Already in the last couple of days, you've seen reports of Ford Motor canceling their plans to move a line outside of the U.S. to Mexico and keeping the line in Kentucky. You know, that's several hundred jobs. Apple is talking about bringing the production of the iPhone completely inside the United States. GM is reportedly going to also cancel plans to move a plant to Mexico. So he's already starting to make good on some of those promises just by dialoguing on these issues as a candidate. And I think you're going to see even more of that when he is actually president of the United States coming here January 20th.
No, that's wonderful to know because he's been working actively with the Indian American community. In terms of manufacturing, obviously there's been something that President-elect Trump has talked about. What are the implications in terms of opportunities for individuals, business people? What should they be looking at, Matt?
Could you repeat that one, Sanjay? I want to make sure I have it correctly.
Yeah, I was asking you in terms of manufacturing. President-elect Trump has talked about, bringing jobs back, especially into areas that have been hit hard, and bringing back the funds that have been put away by companies from outside the U.S. What implications do you see for businesses? Because all that trillions of dollars that's been put out there, he intends to bring it back and put it in for manufacturing. What do you see the implications from some of the business people who are on our call or around the country? What it should create opportunities, I think.
No question. I think people will find that the Trump administration is going to be the most pro-American manufacturing administration in the last several decades. And I already talked about some of the regulations that are going to be eased. And also, one of the things I think he's going to really highlight in his first couple of years of office is American energy, allowing America to be the world leader in energy, which we have the capability of being, but our government itself has been
Matt,
us.
Sanjay, I'm sorry to cut you off. I've been joined by Congressman Barletta right now. We are doing this USINPAC.
Matt,
Sanjay,
can you
please
introduce him? Yeah. Matt, can you introduce him, Congressman? He's on the line.
Sure. Congressman, I talked a little bit about you earlier and happy to do it again now. Congressman Barletta got elected to Congress in 2010. One of the things that I really like about Lou is his background. His background is of a small town mayor that made major changes in policy in his hometown, but also ran a business. I think one of the reasons why he got involved in politics in the first place is he watched and saw that politicians just weren't doing some of the common sense things that businesses have to do on a daily basis. And few people understand what it's like to be a small business person and have public policy influence them like Congressman Barletta does. And he was instrumental during the summer when a lot of people were not helping President-elect Trump in building a team in Pennsylvania, the current state that hadn't voted Republican since 1988, into the key win on election night to deliver the White House to Donald Trump. And I know he's talked a lot about the future with the president-elect, and I know the Republican conference is very excited about all the opportunities that are out there. With that, I will hand it over to Congressman Barletta.
Thank you, Matt. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, we can. Yeah. That's great. Thank you. Sorry, there was a problem. My phone would not unmute, so I was able to hear, but I couldn't talk. Thanks. It's great to have an opportunity to talk to you. Matt touched on my background. My family was in the road construction business. They had ready-mix concrete and asphalt and built roads and bridges. And I started a pavement marking company with my wife. We did all of the line painting, the markings on the highways. We started a business on $29.95. I got a card in the mail that said for $29.95 you can paint your own parking lot. I got this big idea that I would start my own business. You didn't get very much for $29.95. You got a case of aerosol cans and a little push machine. And our business in 5 years grew to be the largest in the state of Pennsylvania. When I sold it, when I became mayor, it was the 6th largest in the country. And that's when I really started paying attention to the federal government, to Washington, and how they interfered with small businesses, how it interfered with my business, and how the regulations affected my company as I was trying to grow. And it really guides me into how I govern in Washington, and my beliefs are, that how Washington gets in the way of small businesses. And the example I use is that my business, which grew to be a large company, that would not happen today, because when I first started and I needed a real piece of equipment to grow, I walked into a local bank and I was able to walk out with a $2,500 line of credit. It wasn't a lot of money, but I had no collateral. All I had was an idea, and I was able to get what I needed to get started. And from there, we grew a business. Because of the regulations in Washington, that can't happen today. It's very difficult for someone to start a business right now and be able to go into a bank and get what you need to get started. So that's really what guides me in Washington: the overregulation, the taxes, and all of the things that hurt small businesses. And if we're going to grow this country again, we're going to grow it through entrepreneurs, through people who start small businesses and continue to grow. That's what attracted me to Donald Trump. The fact that he was a businessman, he was an executive. He knows what it's like to sign the front of a check and not just the back of a check. He knows what it's like to make payroll. He knows how government can interfere with businesses. Most people in Washington, they haven't had that same experience. So I was one of the first to endorse Donald Trump. When I was the mayor of Hazleton, we had a problem with illegal immigration here, and I was one of the first mayors in the country to deal with that issue. And Donald Trump caught my attention when he first started talking about the importance of our borders. For national security reasons, why we need to secure our borders. So the fact that I was one of the first to endorse him, I've been able to develop a very good relationship with President-elect Trump, and I hope that relationship will grow even further. Thank you, Congressman. Really appreciate it. On our call, we have hundreds of entrepreneurs like you were at one time, and people who want to contribute to the United States, want to contribute to this dream of bringing industry back, jobs back. do you have a message? You are on the transition team playing a key role. A lot of our people want to figure out how they can engage, how they can contribute. And Matt has talked about it. If you couldn't hear what Matt talked about, some of it. But you can probably tell the entrepreneurs, all the professionals, all the experts, and this is going to get out to a lot of people, mainly the entrepreneurs and people who have a lot of talent, as to how can they engage with this new administration coming in.
Sure. Well, they should be very excited about this administration because you're going to see an America that will begin to grow its economy again through small businesses. That we've talked a lot about it, and I've talked to Donald Trump about this. That the best way to grow our economy here is for people to start businesses, to come here and grow businesses, and the way we're going to do that is we're going to lower taxes. We're going to eliminate many of the onerous regulations that are costing businesses money, that make it very difficult to do business, and we're going to let businesses make a profit because, like myself, Donald Trump understands that when a business makes a profit, they invest, they buy another business, or they grow their business, or they buy more equipment. When they do that, they hire more people. When they hire more people, the government gets more money back in taxes. It's not by raising taxes, it's by lowering taxes and allowing businesses to make money, to profit. That's how we put people back to work. Donald Trump understands that because he was a businessman. So, the message to everyone is that this is a great time for America, in the fact that you will see this economy grow like you haven't seen in a long time. Now, one other thing that's very important for growth here in the United States is we've got to fix our healthcare system. The Affordable Care Act doesn't work. It's costing businesses money, it's costing people money, and it's not better health care. We're going to fix that, and Donald Trump is committed to fixing that. So I'm very excited, as somebody who was a small businessman before I got to Washington. This is what I wanted to do because I believe our economy here in the United States can grow because interest rates are very low right now. But because of Dodd-Frank and other regulations, it's hard to get money to get started or to grow. And we've got to eliminate the uncertainty in Washington. As I explained to many people who were not business owners, when you're in business, you'll figure it out on what you need to do to stay in business and make a profit. But if you don't know, what the taxes will be, what new regulations, will be, if Washington keeps making it tougher and creates uncertainty, businesses are reluctant to grow, and that's what's holding us back right now. Donald Trump understands all this, so you're going to see a government here that understands what businesses need to grow and to expand.
So that's very, very helpful. Congressman and Matt, President-elect Trump has also talked about expanding our defense sector. We have a lot of people on the call who who have companies in the defense area. Also, India is one of the largest buyers of defense equipment. Can you just maybe talk a little bit about defense happening in terms of that area, sir? And for small companies, how they can engage?
Sure. And I've attended a meeting with President-elect Trump during the campaign to talk about this and talk about national security and how we not only protect ourselves here, but fight terrorism around the world, fight ISIS and other terrorist groups, and that is to invest back into our military to make sure that the men and women who serve in the military in the United States have the best weapons, the best defense, and that we give them everything that they need to succeed, as well as he talks a lot about the fact that we need to be strong, that for other countries, for our allies, they need to know that there's a strong America, that there's a strong military force in America where we can stand with our allies, who I believe under this past administration sometimes didn't feel that the United States stood up as a strong ally, and at the same time, our enemies need to fear the United States because of its strength, and that's an investment in our defense, in our military, and making sure that our allies know that we're going to stand with them. India being one of them, and we're going to together, fight this world terrorism that continues to grow.
Thanks, Congressman. Congressman, you talked about obviously the Affordable Care Act. We have a community which has a large number of physicians. In fact, we have over 60,000 physicians who are Indian American, and I'm sure you have engaged with a lot of them. What can they expect, or what can they do to make healthcare, which is one of the most fundamental things for improve? Do you have any opportunities, questions, suggestions?
Sure. We're going to repeal and replace the Affordable Care Act. We've been working on this for some time now in Congress, and the best thing we can do to make healthcare more accessible is to make it more affordable. When it's more affordable, businesses will provide healthcare for their employees. I was a business owner. I wanted to provide healthcare for my employees because I wanted to keep the good employees. I didn't want them leaving to go to my competition. And most businesses feel that way. However, the cost of healthcare has become so expensive that businesses can't afford to provide healthcare. Actually, there are less people getting coverage now than before. Some of the ideas that we're going to incorporate when we replace the Affordable Care Act is to allow the free market and competition to drive down the price of healthcare. Competition drives down price, and we're going to allow people to cross state lines to look for healthcare, for insurance. We're going to look to health savings accounts, which are another tool that people can use to help them with their healthcare. We're going to allow small businesses to pool together, so that they can shop for a plan that will be less expensive, because it will be many companies rolled into one to shop. So we actually believe that we're going to be able to drive down the cost of healthcare. We're also, because of the regulations, many people are not going into the medical profession. Because of the cost of insurances, the liability costs, the reimbursement, we're seeing many people choosing not to go into that profession. We've got to change that again to make sure that our best and our brightest are going on and becoming doctors, and again making sure that we have the best healthcare system in the world.
Thank you, Congressman. Coming to the point you had made about illegal immigration, a lot of Indian Americans obviously have companies that are in areas which have very specialized skills and need sometimes specialized skills that probably are not there just for cutting edge, whether they are in Silicon Valley, whether they are in Boston, biotech, pharma, etc. Mm-hmm. What do you see in that area of legal immigration, skill-based immigration, Congressman?
Right. So we've got to look at our whole immigration policy here in the United States, and what we don't need right now is a flood of people coming into the country illegally who are working in the lower skilled occupation, because all that does is drive down wages even more. It makes it hard for illegal immigrants and those at the lower end of the economic ladder to find an opportunity to work. But there are areas in the country where we do not have enough people, and we have to make sure that our immigration policy attracts those people that will help American companies compete in a global economy. So again, it's not looking for more lower wage skilled workers, but many specialty professions, and whether it's technology and biotech and allowing our companies here to be able to compete globally and attracting those people through our guest worker programs and other programs in our immigration system. So we really need to look at how we use immigration to make America stronger, to make America's companies stronger, and again, to allow people at the lower end of the economic ladder to find a job and earn decent money.
Oh, that's very helpful. Matt and Congressman, like I said, we have a large group of listeners, and this will go out across the board. There are business people, physicians, professors, etc., who obviously, like a lot of people, were surprised with the Trump win, but are interested, whether as a business person, whether as a well-wisher for the country, whether as somebody who wants to give back. Any concluding messages, thoughts? Their interests are on U.S.-India relations. Their interests are how they can engage.
Yeah, well, the relationship between India and the United States, I believe, will which is already a good relationship, will grow even stronger. India is the world's largest democracy, and the United States is India's second largest trading partner. We have much in common, and I believe under a President Trump, that relationship will get even stronger, as many who come from India to the United States will be able to find a better opportunity to start a business, grow a business, invest into this economy, because this economy will take off under President Trump. You're going to see this economy grow. I believe, we can see, 4% growth or higher in the United States by doing simple things that we know in business work, and that is less regulations, lower taxes, a healthcare system that is not expensive, and people will invest money. So my final message is that I believe our relationship with India will grow. I believe the United States, who has a president who is an actual businessman, who understands what it's like, who signed the front of a check and not just the back of a check, will not only help existing businesses, but will allow people to come here and start a business up again. And that's how we put people back to work, and that's how we become a stronger nation.
Matt? Hello, Matt?
Yes, Sanjay.
Concluding remarks.
Thank you so much for having me on, and Congressman, thank you so much for your time and your leadership, and helping make America great again, and bringing Pennsylvania across the finish line. Is the involvement. As I said it earlier in the call, we found out the power of the people on election night, and don't let the mainstream media or anybody tell you what you can and can't do, that everything is possible. And I do think we're coming into another moment in history where America is going to truly boom, and everybody on the call should be a part of it and get involved. And the more people with business experience that run for elective office, the more efficient and effective our government will be. So I encourage people that are on the call to consider doing that or joining the new administration.
Wonderful, Matt. We are putting out that link that President-elect Trump has put out there. We have a special email for people who want to serve in the upcoming administration. There are people who want to be on the inaugural fall committee. We've got people who want to serve as CIOs and have the experience to do it. We've got people who want to be part of the healthcare. So I really appreciate Matt and Congressman, you have a very important role now in the new Trump administration, and we look forward to continuing to engage with both of you and others to make sure that the United States really achieves the potential we want for our future generation. And so thank you so much. Appreciate it. And thank you to all our listeners across. We hope this was helpful. We'll be continuing this dialogue. We'll also be having some face-to-face meetings and be engaging with people who want to serve in the upcoming Trump administration. So thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, everybody.